Have you ever wondered why some men, without saying a single word, attract women effortlessly? It's not about the car they drive, the clothes they wear, or even the way they look. It's something deeper, something almost invisible but powerful. Before we dive in, let me say this: what I'm about to share with you is not just a guide to relationships. It's a guide to becoming a man who naturally inspires love, respect, and desire. And these signs, rooted in Stoic wisdom from thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, could change your love life forever. So, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and stay until the very end, because these 10 signs will shift the way you see yourself, women, and love itself. Now let's begin. Sign number 1, emotional control, the calm in the storm. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever been with someone you loved, maybe sitting in a car together, walking through a busy market, or even on your very first date, and suddenly something went wrong? Maybe the waiter got your order wrong. Maybe traffic was unbearable. Or maybe someone said something rude to you right in front of her. Be honest, how did you react? Did you snap? Did you let frustration pour out of you? Or did you hold it in, pretending you were fine but boiling on the inside? Now think about this. How did she look at you in that moment? Did she feel safe? Did she feel like you were the anchor, the calm she could lean on? Or did she feel like the storm got the best of you? Let me share a story. A friend of mine once told me about a moment with his girlfriend. They were driving late at night and suddenly, the car broke down in the middle of nowhere. The frustration on his face was obvious. He hit the steering wheel, cursed, and started blaming everything: himself, the car, even the situation. His girlfriend stayed silent, but inside she felt something break. Not the car, but her trust in him. Why? Because when things went wrong, instead of becoming her protector, he became another problem. Now compare that with another man I knew. Let's call him Daniel. He was also with his girlfriend when they got stuck in traffic for hours. Instead of exploding, he laughed. He turned on music, told her stories from his childhood, and even made that traffic jam feel like an unexpected date. She later told her friends, "That's when I knew I could spend the rest of my life with him." You see, women may not always say it out loud, but deep down, they are watching how you respond in these small, frustrating moments. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the secret. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let the feeling control you. And when a woman sees that in you, she feels something priceless: security. Think about your own love life. Remember the last time you were upset around someone you cared about? What if instead of anger, you smiled? Instead of cursing the situation, you held her hand and said, "It's okay, we'll figure this out together." Do you see how that tiny shift changes everything? Suddenly, you're not just a man, you're her safe place. And let me tell you this: women secretly love that more than looks, money, or anything else you could try to impress them with. Because when life throws storms at her, she doesn't want to wonder if you'll break. She wants to know you'll stay calm, stand strong, and hold her through it. That's emotional control. That's Stoicism in love. And that, my friend, is unforgettable. Sign number 2, purpose-driven living. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship where after some time, the spark began to fade, not because the love wasn't there, but because there was no direction? Think back. Maybe you were deeply in love. You went on long walks, stayed up late talking, laughed at silly jokes. But as months passed, you felt something change. The conversations became repetitive. The days started blending together. And somewhere inside, she began to wonder, where is this going? Now let me share a story. There was a man named Adam. He was good-hearted, kind, and deeply in love with his girlfriend. But Adam had no real purpose. He worked just enough to get by, spent hours scrolling on his phone, and whenever she asked about the future, he'd just smile and say, "We'll see." At first, she thought it was cute. She told herself, as long as we love each other, it's enough. But over time, she started feeling restless. Not because Adam wasn't good enough, but because he wasn't moving. He wasn't building. He wasn't chasing something greater. Eventually, she drifted away, and Adam was left wondering, why wasn't my love enough? Now let's look at another man. His name was Samuel. Samuel didn't have all the answers either. He wasn't rich, he wasn't perfect, and he definitely had his struggles. But here's the difference: Samuel had a vision. He woke up every day working towards something. His dream business, his fitness goals, his personal growth. And when his girlfriend asked, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" he looked her in the eyes and said, "I don't know the exact details, but I do know this. I'm building something I believe in. And I'd love for you to be part of that journey." That answer wasn't just words, it was fuel. She admired him, supported him, and loved him even more deeply, because she saw a man not just existing but living with purpose. Seneca once said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Think about that. If you don't know where you're going, how can anyone follow you? And here's the truth women rarely say out loud. They don't just want to be loved. They want to be led, not controlled but inspired. They want to walk beside a man who is moving forward. A man who, even if he stumbles, gets back up and keeps walking towards something meaningful. So let me ask you directly. In your own love life, are you Adam or Samuel? Are you drifting day by day, hoping love itself will keep things alive? Or are you building, striving, showing her that life with you is a journey worth taking? Because women may fall in love with your smile, your charm, or your presence, but they stay in love with your purpose. And when you live with that kind of drive, you don't just win her heart, you inspire her soul. Sign number 3, self-respect and boundaries. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever loved someone so much that you started losing yourself in the process? You said yes when you wanted to say no. You bent your schedule, your needs, even your values, just to keep that person happy. At first it feels like love, doesn't it? You tell yourself, "I'm doing this because I care, because I don't want to lose them." But slowly, without realizing it, you begin to shrink. I once knew a man, we'll call him Daniel. He adored his girlfriend. If she wanted him to skip hanging out with his friends, he did. If she wanted him to spend money he didn't have, he found a way. If she disrespected him in public, he laughed it off and swallowed his pride. On the surface, it looked like devotion, but underneath, something was dying, his self-respect. And here's the painful truth. She began to notice it too. At first, she liked the attention, the sacrifices, but soon she lost respect for him. Not because he was unkind, but because he had no boundaries. And what's love without respect? Now let's flip the story. There was another man, Mark. He loved his partner deeply, but he also valued himself. When she crossed a line, like raising her voice at him in anger, he calmly said, "I won't continue this conversation until we can talk with respect." When she asked him to do something that conflicted with his own priorities, he explained, "I can't do that right now, but here's what I can do instead." Did she get angry at first? Sometimes, yes. But over time, something amazing happened. She respected him more. She felt secure knowing that his love was real but not desperate, that he was strong enough to love her while still standing tall as himself. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." And here's the hidden meaning in that. If you allow someone to constantly take from you without boundaries, you're not improving, you're diminishing. Think about your own love life. Have you ever let your partner's happiness completely erase your own needs? Have you ever thought, "If I just keep giving, they'll love me more"? But does it really work that way? Or does it create quiet resentment both in you and in them? The truth is, women secretly love boundaries. They may test them, but deep down, they crave them because boundaries show you value yourself. And when you value yourself, they value you more. So here's the lesson. Love with an open heart, but not an empty spine. Give, but don't abandon yourself. Respect her, but also respect you. Because a man who respects himself creates a relationship built not on neediness, but on strength. And strength, my friend, is what keeps love alive. Sign number 4, consistency over flash. Let me ask you a question. In your love life, what do you think mattered more? The big, flashy surprises or the small everyday actions? Think back to your own memories. Maybe you bought flowers once, took her out to a fancy dinner, or gave her a beautiful gift. She smiled, she hugged you, and in that moment it felt magical. But let me ask, did that single gesture keep the relationship alive? Or was it the everyday things, the texts in the morning, showing up when you said you would, holding her hand when she felt down, that really mattered? I'll tell you a story. There was a man named Chris. He loved grand gestures. He planned surprise trips, bought expensive gifts, even posted long love declarations on social media. Everyone thought they were the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, Chris had a problem. He was inconsistent. One day he was loving, attentive, and present. The next day he disappeared, got distracted, or broke promises he made. His girlfriend told me later, the gifts were nice, but I never knew which version of him I would get tomorrow. I couldn't trust his love because it wasn't steady. Now let's look at another man, let's call him David. David wasn't flashy. He didn't always buy flowers or write long love notes. But here's what he did. When he said he'd call, he called. When he promised he'd be there at 7, he showed up at 6:55. When she was having a bad day, he didn't try to fix it with money or gifts. He listened, hugged her, and stayed by her side. Guess who she felt safer with? Guess who she trusted more? It wasn't the man of big moments, it was the man of consistent ones. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And being one doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up. Over and over, day after day. That's what women secretly love more than anything else. Not the flash, but the faithfulness. Think about your own relationships. Did she ever tell you, 'I don't need much, I just need you to be there'? Did you ever notice how her face lit up? Not when you bought something expensive, but when you remembered the little things, her favorite snack, the way she likes her coffee, the story she told you weeks ago. That's the secret. Consistency is love's real luxury. It doesn't fade after the money is spent or the surprise is over. It builds brick by brick into trust. And once trust is built, love becomes unshakable. So here's the truth. Women might smile at the flash, but they fall in love with the consistency. Because flashy moments create memories, but consistency creates forever. Sign number 5, resilience in hardship. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. When life hit you the hardest, when you lost a job, failed at something important, or even went through heartbreak, how did you handle it? Did you let it crush you or did you rise from it stronger? Because here's the truth. Women may love your smile, your charm, even your confidence, but what they admire most, what they secretly fall in love with, is how you carry yourself when life throws you to the ground. Let me share a story. A man I knew, we'll call him Alex, lost his job suddenly. He was dating a woman who loved him deeply, but as the days went on, Alex changed. He stopped trying. He drowned himself in self-pity, snapping at her, blaming the world, and giving up on his goals. At first, she comforted him, but over time, she felt the weight of his hopelessness pulling her down too. It wasn't the job loss that ended their relationship, it was his inability to rise again. Now let's compare that with another man, Michael. He also went through a tough time. He lost money in a failed business, and for a moment, it felt like the world was against him. But instead of sinking into despair, he took a breath and said to his girlfriend, "I won't lie, this hurts, but I'll figure it out. I always do." And she watched as he got back up little by little. Maybe not immediately, maybe not perfectly, but consistently. He worked harder, stayed hopeful, and even found ways to laugh in the middle of his struggle. Later, she admitted, "That was the moment I knew I wanted to build a life with him, because I saw that no matter what happens, he won't give up." Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for your own love life. Have you ever gone through something that tested you to your core? Maybe you failed at something. Maybe you were betrayed. Maybe life just seemed unfair. Did you crumble? Or did you stand tall even when your knees were shaking? Because here's the secret. Women aren't looking for a man who never falls. They're looking for a man who, when he falls, knows how to get back up. They don't need perfection. They need resilience. And let's be honest, resilience isn't just attractive, it's contagious. When you stay strong in the storm, you give her strength too. You remind her that together, no matter what life throws your way, you'll find a way through it. So here's the truth. Life will test you. Hardship is unavoidable. But resilience, that quiet decision to rise again, is what makes you unforgettable. And women deep down secretly love that strength more than anything else. Sign number 6, deep listening. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever been in a moment where the person you loved was pouring their heart out to you, and instead of really listening, you were already thinking of what to say next? Or maybe you cut them off with a solution, saying something like, "Don't worry, just do this." Be honest, how did that make them feel? Did they feel heard or did they feel brushed aside? Now let me tell you a story. There was a man named Ryan. He cared for his girlfriend, but every time she shared her feelings, whether about work stress, family problems, or even insecurities, Ryan treated it like a problem to be fixed. She would say, "I feel like my friends don't appreciate me," and Ryan would quickly reply, Forget them, just cut them off. At first, she appreciated his effort, but slowly she started feeling invisible. Not because Ryan didn't love her, but because he wasn't really listening. He was hearing words, but not her heart. Now let's compare him to another man, Daniel. Daniel also had a girlfriend who came to him with her worries. But instead of rushing to solve them, Daniel leaned in, looked into her eyes, and listened, really listened. When she said, "I feel like I'm not good enough at work," he didn't try to fix it. He simply said, "That must feel heavy. Tell me more." She later told her friends, "When I talk to him, I feel safe. I feel seen, like my words matter." And that, my friend, is the power of deep listening. Seneca once wrote, "Nature gave us one tongue and two ears, so that we may listen more and talk less." Think about your own love life. Remember the times when she was upset, maybe even crying. Did you sit with her, quietly holding her hand, letting her speak until her heart felt lighter? Or did you get impatient, distracted, maybe even scrolling through your phone while she spoke? Because here's the truth, women don't always want answers. They don't always want solutions. What they truly crave is to be understood, to know that their feelings matter to you, even if you can't change the situation. And the beautiful thing is, when you really listen without judgment, without rushing, you give her one of the most powerful gifts in love, presence. Think about it. Anyone can buy flowers, send a text, or say, "I love you." But not everyone can make another person feel truly heard. And that's why women secretly love deep listening. It makes them feel connected to you on a soul-deep level. So the next time she opens her heart, don't jump in with answers. Don't interrupt. Just listen. Let her words fill the silence, because in that silence, love grows stronger than ever. Sign number 7, confidence without arrogance. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever been around someone who tried too hard to impress? Maybe he bragged about his car, his job, his money, or he walked into a room like he owned it, talking louder than everyone else. Did that feel like real confidence? Or insecurity dressed up in arrogance? Now think about another type of man, the one who doesn't need to prove anything. He walks into a room quietly, but people notice him anyway. He speaks calmly, not to dominate, but because his words carry weight. Which one do you think women are drawn to? Let me share a story. A man named Jason once went on a first date. He spent the entire night listing his achievements, his promotions, his trips abroad, the people he knew. He thought he was impressing her, but the truth? She left feeling exhausted. Not because he wasn't successful, but because everything was about him. Now let's compare him to another man, Anthony. Anthony didn't brag. He didn't oversell himself. Instead, he asked her questions. He shared small pieces of his life naturally with a calm smile. And when she asked what he did for work, he simply said, "I'm building something I care about. It keeps me busy, but I enjoy the challenge." No arrogance, no exaggeration. Later, she told her best friend, "I don't know what it is about him, but he just feels solid." That's the difference. Confidence is quiet. It's not about shouting, it's about presence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject." In other words, when you know yourself deeply, you don't need external applause. Think about your own love life. Remember the times you felt insecure and tried to prove your worth by overdoing it, buying something expensive, talking yourself up, trying to look more impressive. Did it really work? Or did it feel like it created distance instead of closeness? Now think about the moments you were simply yourself, when you laughed without forcing it, when you spoke calmly about what you loved, when you didn't worry about impressing, but instead focused on enjoying her presence. Do you remember how much lighter and more genuine that felt? Here's the truth. Women secretly love men who are confident without arrogance, because it feels safe, it feels steady. Arrogance screams, "I need attention." But confidence whispers, "I know who I am and I don't need validation." And that quiet assurance is magnetic. It doesn't just attract her. It allows her to relax, to be herself, because she knows you're already grounded in who you are. So here's the lesson. Real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't brag. It doesn't need applause. Real confidence is a calm presence, a steady hand, a grounded soul. And that, my friend, is what women love far more than arrogance ever could. Sign number 8, gratitude and joy in simple things. Most men chase happiness in material things, cars, clothes, wealth. But Stoicism teaches us that joy is found in the simple present moment. A walk in the park, a good conversation, a sunset shared. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself." When a woman sees you smiling at life's small blessings, she feels uplifted. You teach her to find joy not in what you own, but in what you live. And that is a rare, beautiful gift. Sign number 9, protectiveness without control. Women love to feel cherished, but they don't want to feel caged. The Stoic man protects not because he doubts her strength, but because he honors her worth. Think of it this way. When you walk with her at night and instinctively move to the outside of the sidewalk, it's not about dominance, it's about silent care. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Protection rooted in kindness makes a woman feel safe, respected, and deeply valued. That balance of strength and gentleness is rare and unforgettable. Sign number 10, living by principles, not impulses. Finally, the most powerful sign, a man guided by principles. Most men are slaves to impulses, lust, anger, greed. But a Stoic man pauses, thinks, and acts according to his values. Marcus Aurelius urged, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." When a woman sees a man led by principle, she sees a man she can trust with her heart, her life, her future. That trust becomes the foundation of deep, lasting love. Think about it. Women may smile at the surface level things, your style, your jokes, your status, but deep down what they crave are these 10 signs: calmness, purpose, boundaries, consistency, resilience, listening, confidence, gratitude, protection, and principles. And here's the secret, the Stoics weren't writing about women. They were writing about being a good man, but in becoming that man, love naturally follows. So if you want to transform your love life, don't chase trends. Don't fake charm. Live these Stoic signs and watch how women respond differently. Not because you're performing, but because you've become the kind of man they secretly long for. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.